What is this plastic hook that has been in the family since the early 1980s? Around 8 inches long, with one bony end, and has 85 Ramses and Pat pending on it. Apparently it was gotten in a jumbo mystery box from an auction sale in the early 1980s, so it could possibly be even older. Someone suggested it might be a replacement leg bone for a small animal, possibly a cat or a smaller dog, but I don't know if they had plastic replacements in the 80s. Our family was thinking it was a tool, but it seems possible it could have been from a model perhaps. I've tried a Google image search, along with typing in Ramses, 85 and Pat pending, and haven't found anything. Does anyone know what this thing actually is? It's part of an old Ramses tuck-away kit called the Diaphragm Inserter and Remover. It was patented as spermicidal compositions on December 30th, 1952 by Abraham Taub for the Julius Schmid Incorporated of New York City, New York. Interestingly, the one they have catalogued in the National Museum of American History doesn't seem to have that piece anymore. It has two different sides. One is for inserting a diaphragm, and one for removing it. The diaphragm is first mounted onto the inserting side, and then hooked with the other side into one of the notches. Apply approximately 4 milliliters of the contraceptive gel onto the folded diaphragm. Then insert the insertion rod with the diaphragm as far as possible into the posterior vaginal vault. Rotate the insertion rod to allow the diaphragm to detach itself from the insertion rod. If necessary, feel to check that the diaphragm is covering the cervix and lying in the niche at the front of the pubic bone. To remove the diaphragm, insert the insertion rod with the hook a few centimeters into the vagina. Guide the hook of the rod behind the front edge of the diaphragm and hook it on. What is this heavy cast iron bull with what appears to be hand-etched engravings? Roughly the size of my hand, with an attached spike or stake in lieu of back legs, Southeast Texas or Houston origin, and possibly related to the butcher or cattle trade anywhere from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. I've Googled various iterations of iron bull with a spike or stake, but I can't find anything similar. Does anyone have an idea? It's an antique door knocker. The stake or spike is what mounts it into the wood of the door, leaving the rest to hang and move freely to knock, meaning that the only use other than decoration would be a door knocker. What is this thing found while thrifting? I'm thinking it's some type of medieval torture, or maybe a kitchen implement. I would love some clarification if anyone knows about it. It's an antique chitara, or pasta guitar, used to cut fresh pasta into strands from the turn of the 20th century or older. Chitaras originated in the Abruzzo region of Italy. One rolls out pieces of pasta dough by hand, places each sheet of fresh pasta on the wires, and presses the sheet through the wires with a rolling pin. The cut noodles are then tossed to separate and set aside briefly before cooking. What is this odd saw thing? It is possibly designed for cutting sinew or bone. It also looks like a fancy bread knife or a tile grout spreaders, but not quite the same. Can anyone tell me what this is used for? It's a Barlow butcher saw, made in Japan in the 1970s. It was used for cutting frozen food or bone, but it could be used for any type of carving. What is this unusual tool found while cleaning out an old farm tool shed? It's made of iron, around 8.5 inches long. The pointy things are on a hinge, and the little bracket slides back and forth to hold it like a clamp. It would be nice to know what it was used for. It's a 1950s meat fork prongs with a locking lever for carving a roast dinner. A mid-century sliced ham serving tool. There is a locking ring that keeps the prongs closed or to secure the item you are serving. What is this unknown vintage steel tool? Approximately 10 inches long, curved at both ends, and stamped John Monks & Sons, Sheffield. I can't find anything about it online. Does anyone know what it is or what it's used for? This is a mid-century foundry molding tool. used in the making of steel tools by using sand in molds. They are also called spoons and come in many shapes. They are used to form the channels in a sand mold for metal to flow in and air to flow out. What is this metal lid found in a fishing pond? It's magnetic, approximately 2 inches in diameter, with Freeport, Maine printed on the almost disintegrated paper label. My son likes to magnet fish, and today we pulled this out of a local fishing pond using the magnet. He was trying to wipe it clean with his gloved finger when I realized he was damaging the label even more. I'm from Freeport, Maine, so we were very excited to be able to read the label on this little piece of metal. However, I've searched online and can't figure out what this tin might have been used for. Any insight? It's an LL Bean fishing line tin, made by LL Bean Incorporated in Freeport, Maine, in the mid-1900s. The company was founded in 1912 by a hunter and fisherman Leon Leonwood Bean. I was doing a VR tour on Oculus of the Anne Frank home, and I saw this interesting device in the corner, with a wheel and cord. There is a pulley, but I'm not sure what it is. Thanks in advance for your help. It's a 19th century foot-powered dentist drill, a dental drill with a foot treadle. The Frank family shared the secret annex with a Jewish dentist named Fritz Pfeffer, so that makes sense, and it wouldn't have required power or made too much noise. The handpiece itself consists of internal mechanical components which initiate a rotational force and provide power to the cutting instrument, usually a dental burr. What is this metal thingy from an antique shop? Is it a bottle opener? It's super heavy. It was clearly made over 100 years ago, and I don't know how I was convinced to buy this. I guess the dates on the side are patent application dates, and the only thing I know for sure about its age is that this was made after November 30th, 1920. Does anyone know what this could be used for, or what it might be called? Please let us know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.